Hi, my name is Padgett and I am the founder of Redefining Sobriety. And I have a part 2 video. So this is Loving Yourself Like Your Life Depends on It, part 2. Part 1 has already been released, so if you haven't watched it yet, please do. And why did I do a part 1 and a part 2 for this topic, loving yourself like your life depends on it? Well, because it is just that important. It really, really is. So, we hear a lot about self-love, self-care. They're kind of buzzwords that you hear a lot about these days. But for me, it goes so much deeper than just keywords or hashtags or, things that are trending right now. Because really, our relationship to ourselves is the foundation of everything. And especially when we talk about redefining sobriety, when we talk about changing our relationship to alcohol, when we talk about changing our relationship to other harmful or numbing or distracting behaviors, it really does come down to our relationship to ourselves. And I think even for myself, I've been on this path for about 6 years or longer, in terms of when I decided that I just was done treating myself the way I was before, and decided to not ever be drunk again and to change my relationship to alcohol, which then led to changing my relationship to so many other things: my body, my work, how I showed up in the world, my relationships. And what I started realizing as I kind of pulled back the layers and dug deeper and deeper into my own self-awareness was that really, in order to change my relationship to all of these other external things, validation being another one, I really had to have a different relationship with myself. And that, to me, is really what self-love is about how I am in relationship to myself and how much I like myself and how much I like being with myself and my own thoughts. And it didn't come easily. It wasn't an overnight thing. And so for me, when I talk about this with my clients and my community members, it's about finding what's going to work well for each person. What's going to work well for me might be different than what's going to work well for you. But what I do know is that consistently making yourself a priority in your own thoughts and in your own heart is really, really fundamental, is really key. And if you're wondering about how to do that, spending some time with yourself each and every single day, if you can, as early as possible in the morning before you start paying attention to other things, other people, to your work, going into what I call a state of reactivity, which is where you are responding either in actions or in thoughts to the news, to your notifications, to your children, to your spouse, to your work, whatever it is. You spend time, focused time with yourself. And so for me, what that looks like is getting up earlier and prioritizing myself first thing in the day, because that's the only time I really for sure know that I have control over. So I also notice a big difference on the days where I don't get up early, or when my daughter wakes up extra early and we're up at the same time and I don't have that time to really connect with myself and how I'm feeling and what it is that I need, and to check in with my heart. So one way that you can do that is even just start setting your alarm 5 or 10 minutes earlier and get up and just ask yourself a couple of questions. How does it feel to be me right now? How would I like to be feeling? And what's stopping me from feeling that way, or what's preventing me from feeling that way? And then you could even follow up with, well, then what do I need right now in order to be closer to how I want to be feeling? And so it's a fairly simple practice on paper, but when you think about actually making that time for yourself every single day, then getting up and doing it and following through, and then having that opportunity to check in with yourself every day and just ask, how am I doing? How's my heart? How do I want to be feeling? Am I this close to feeling how I want to be feeling, or am I this close? And if I'm farther away, then what are some of the little steps that I could be taking to get closer to what I need and what I want to be feeling? Another one is to stay in gratitude, and in gratitude towards yourself and self-appreciation, and really honoring yourself for the changes that you're making, for and trying to shift that voice from a critical voice to a supportive voice in your head. And another one is just looking at yourself lovingly in the mirror and just allowing yourself to see yourself and smile as if you were smiling at somebody you loved, as opposed to smiling or staring or finding fault in yourself, which is also something that we're really trained to do, is to kind of pick apart our physical appearance, or even just not look at yourself with love and appreciation. So these are some ways that you can get started. So if you're kind of wondering, like, what the heck am I talking about with self-love, and why is it even so important? It might take a little while to start feeling the difference, but I promise you that if you start doing some of these practices every single day and making yourself a priority, sitting with yourself, which can be really uncomfortable at first if you haven't spent that kind of time with yourself, doing some tapping, and I have tapping videos that I've shared, so make sure to look them up, especially if you're feeling resistance to doing any of these practices. And then just go from there and see how it feels. And you know, for me, I started with 5 or 10 minutes. Now I love spending at least 30 minutes or sometimes longer, and I'm happy to share more about what I do in that time in the mornings when I have it. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes it's only 10 or 15 minutes, but I do make sure to use that time to be checking in with myself and asking myself what it is that I need and how I'm doing. And I've also created a workbook with some other tools that you can follow, as well as some of what I talked about in this video, so make sure to check it out in the link that's under the video. And I would love to hear your thoughts, and I'll be sharing more throughout the month about self-love, because it is such an important topic. I posted something on Instagram recently about how if I could rename sobriety into anything, I would call it self-love, because that's really what it is changing your relationship to these external things that we've used as a crutch, or as a you know, healing, or whatever we used it for the ways that we did. Then we start to learn to love ourselves differently. And really, for me, that's the definition of sobriety. And redefining sobriety is all about redefining your relationship to yourself. So I hope that this is helpful. Please let me know if you